Today I'll be talking about the anime Atri My Dear Moments by Studio TROYCA. In a future where rising sea levels have drowned most of the world, a struggling student named Natsuki discovers a mysterious robot girl named Atri, left behind by a scientist's grandmother. Instead of selling her for a quick buck, he teams up with her to recover her lost memories, and ends up finding a new purpose helping his island community. I'm playing the Attack on Titan tribute game while we dive into the overall atmosphere, what I think of Atri, impressions of Natsuki, and more. Enjoy the video! So in terms as to what drew me to the anime, Atri My Dear Moments, it's probably the fact that it had a robot main heroine, or main character in this case, or could be both really. Because I really enjoyed anime where the main premise of it is the interaction between a human and a robot. Shows like Plastic Memories, Mahoratic Automatic Maiden, Planetarian, all shows where the main heroine is out of a android or machine doll. And I enjoyed shows like that because of the aspect, because I enjoyed seeing the emotional developments and in some cases romantic developments that transpire in such a premise. Seeing a robot character slowly become more human as the anime progresses, and the dynamic the character has with others. And I also enjoyed the aspect that there's a lot of emotional developments that transpire because they're a robot as well, such as the time limit on the characters in most cases, such as in Plastic Memories and Mahoratic Automatic Maiden, and actually this show had a time limit on their character too, through Atri. So in terms as to what drew me to the show, it's the aspect that because of the robot main character in this sense, I was expecting quite the emotional journey, with a lot of potential for character developments and personal developments between the characters as well. Honestly, I don't think you can ever go wrong with a robot main character for a show when it comes to emotional developments. So that's the main thing that drew me to the show, when reading the synopsis especially, and also... I was also like, oh yes, I'm definitely going to watch this now, when I checked the MAL recommendation, or the My Anime List recommendations for the show, and saw that Plastic Memories was the top one. And I really enjoyed Plastic Memories back when I watched it way back when. So that's when the resolve to watch this show was affirmed. In terms of how I would describe the overall atmosphere in 3 words, it would probably be civilized, submerged apocalypse. Basically, in this world, all the sea level rises by a lot, and the world drastically changes, and it becomes almost apocalyptic in the environment where people are trying to scrape by just to make a living. The old world is long gone and people are just trying to adapt, trying to make use of what's left. By all accounts, it should be more of a depressing atmosphere, like almost Mad Max levels, or like the anime Heavenly Delusion. But surprisingly, the overall atmosphere of the show was really peaceful and chill. Kind of healing as well, maybe, I want to say. Because despite the situations and the overall world, you still have people who are still curious and hopeful for the world, or hopeful for the future. Especially when Atri joined the main characters' lives. There's also a case of nostalgia for me as well, for the overall atmosphere. So there's this one anime called Humanity Has Declined, where it's an anime about humans on the brink of extinction due to fairies and their magic. But despite the apocalyptic scenario, which is actually similar in vein to this anime here, Atri My Dear Moments, it's actually still quite a peaceful show. Like, he gave Girl's Last Tour vibes with the whole, where in that show it's about exploring a war-torn world, but still maintaining curiosity of what the world was like before, and just exploring the world in general. In which case, My Dear Moments heavily reminded me of Humanity Has Declined, especially in the overall world as well, where everything is still... it's like in a ruined state, all the buildings and all that. So in terms of pacing for the show, I'm gonna say everything was paced well enough, I guess. I didn't notice any parts of the show where things felt rushed at any point, or things felt forced. However, there was some cases where I feel like a character missed out on their developments. Like, I haven't seen the visual novel for the show, or the manga, or the whatever the source material was. But I did feel like there was a character who had their arc skipped over due to time constraints. Because from the opening, they'd had like a significant moment that implied that they're gonna have some developments in the show later down the line. But there was an episode dedicated to them overcoming whatever problem they had going on with them. If anything, there was a conversation in the show itself that kind of concluded their arc. But it would have been nice to have room for developments in that regard. But I suppose due to time constraints, they couldn't allocate enough room to fully flesh out that character. But everything else, I found the show paced relatively solidly, in my opinion. Like the slice of life elements had time to shine. The heavy personal developments as well had their opportunities too. So yeah, I think everything was all good in that regard. Very heartfelt, all things considered. So going forwards, I'll be talking about I'll be tapping into spoiler territory for the show. So if you haven't seen the show yet, now'd be a good time just to click off this video and give it a watch. But for those who have seen the show, feel free to continue on. So in that case, we'll go on to my next thought, which is my overall first impressions of Atri as a character. In general, I kind of liked her running gag of always proclaiming herself as high spec throughout the show, much to Natsuki's dismay. I also love the fact that she has a whistle on her at all times. Whenever Natsuki says a derogatory robot term towards Atri, like calling her a toaster or microwave, or saying his microwave is better than her, to which she blows a whistle. Talks about how what he says violates robotic rights or something like that. That's a nice running gag to see throughout the show. In general, I did like how cheery she was too, no matter the situations that befall her, as well as her curiosity to the people around her, and aspects of the old world too, and aspects of the current world as well. And this also made me think about Natsuki as a protagonist. I really liked how, at the start of the series, he was like a hermit of sorts, who just stayed on his ship and did salvaging missions. But then upon meeting Atri, he starts to get out of his shell and change the community around him. And it was also nice to see how his past frustrations affected him to become the person he is now. Because in the show, it turns out that he attended an academy in the mainland to build rockets one day, but due to his prosthetics, he wasn't allowed to work on rockets for whatever reason, despite being qualified to do so. And thus he wasn't able to achieve what he wanted to do when he went out to study in the first place. But it's nice to see how he develops, where upon meeting Atri, he starts to gain a newfound ambition for something else. He starts to pursue studies in terms of working on humanoids. Which I think is pretty cool. How Atri was there to help add another perspective to Natsuki's situation. As for what character I think stood out the most to me, it's probably Ririka, the blonde twin-tailed girl. Because I liked how when Natsuki and Atri first met her in the school, she had a small wind contraption that was powered by wind to light up a small light bulb to allow her to study in the darkness of the school. But upon the stoppage of the wind, as you might guess, the light bulb disappears. I thought it was pretty inspiring to see her still study despite her limited situations. And Natsuki, seeing this aspect from her, became one of the sole motivations he had to use his knowledge from the academy to build a generator for the school, to turn on the lights. And then after more people started coming to the school, he volunteered to be a teacher. And because of Natsuki's teachings, Ririka was heavily inspired to study even harder to change the world around her. Which I thought was really, really nice to see. And regrettably, I think she was one of the characters who had a lot more development in the visual novel as well. She was actually the character I was on about at around the start of the video when it came to the pacing of the show. Because she had a prevalent moment in the opening song, which implied that the show would delve into the aspect of the disappearance of her parents. But the show itself didn't really expand on anything in terms of her arc, only concluding things in conversation, or revealing things in conversation. So it's unfortunate in that regard, not being able to see the full extent of her character as the way the visual novel intended. But even seeing what was presented to us in the show itself, I still want to say Ririka still stood out amongst the other side characters. As for, in terms of a theme that resonated with me the most, I want to say it's the aspect of Natsuki regaining the resolve to try again. Because as you know, Natsuki kind of gave up on his ambitions before the start of the series. So seeing him meet Atri, and then throughout the developments, he regains a newfound ambition that is something unrelated to his first ambition, was pretty cool to see. It's always nice to see a character not restart from scratch, if that makes sense, but start a new game plus, use their experience from before to make the new game easier in the long run. Which is kind of the vibe I got when it came to Natsuki's developments throughout the show. So seeing Natsuki move forward in that regard, thanks to Atri, I really enjoyed seeing that. So in terms of a specific scene or moment that I really enjoyed, it's definitely the scene where the light for the schools turn on for the first time after the group builds a generator to generate electricity. Because seeing the hard work that the cast put on to build the generator in the first place, and then seeing the overall payoff at the end of it, was really, really nice to see. Because I really loved how it was presented as well. Because when the lights turn on for the first time, it isn't just the regular lights that you normally see being switched on in regular anime. Because it had this really golden, heavenly flair to it, which I feel presented the overall situation as really angelic. Despite it being such a simple maneuver, or simple thing that we take for granted. But in general, I really liked how it presented the act of simply turning on the lights as really, really, really pretty. Or beautiful. Yeah, I think that's the scene that probably stuck out with me the most in the anime. I suppose there's also the aspect of seeing characters who didn't have much attain something that we take for granted, but being so impressed. It's just cool to see. I also liked how the show balanced various sci-fi elements with its emotional storytelling. Because at first glance, you wouldn't think that the show is sci-fi to begin with. If anything, it's more like an island slice of life with a robot main character in the mix. It's not a lot of situations that would scream out, this is a sci-fi setting. I think it was during the latter half of the show where the characters find Eden for the first time, where you can definitely tell this show is a sci-fi show. Overall, I think it really mainly focuses down on the island life first and foremost, the sci-fi second. If anything, I'd say it definitely lent more towards the post-apocalyptic side of things as well than the sci-fi elements. Especially seeing how the submerged element of the show affected the lives of the main characters. And seeing characters appreciate aspects of the old world. It wasn't until it was revealed that Atri's battery was decaying that the true sci-fi elements of the show was really presenting itself. Because then at that point, there were flashbacks to the world before, and you can see how... And you get to see how high-tech the world was before things went bad with the rising sea levels. So emotionally, it kind of tackles the fact that... tackles how people miss the old world, but adapt with the new one, despite relying so much on tech before. But yeah, I don't really have a strong opinion on the balance between sci-fi elements and emotional storytelling, to be honest. I want to say every part of that plays well in the show. I suppose to close things off, if I were to spend one peaceful day in the world of Atri, I think I would want to experience the aspect of seeing a submerged world underwater through Natsuki's submarine. So I want to say I'm kind of I want to say historian? I love all things history myself. But seeing what the world was like in such a state, being submerged in such a manner, would actually be quite the nice little adventure if I were to only spend one day in the show, or in the world of Atri. And I don't think I'm gonna kill that entire crowd of titans either. So those are all my brief thoughts on Atri. On Atri My Dream Moments from the top of my head there. If you guys also have thoughts you'd like to share as well, be sure to leave them down in the comments below. So with that said, if you guys enjoyed the video there, be sure to hit like and subscribe as per usual. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.